The critique, the play that we're reading this week is called Three Personal Pronouns. That's Three Personal Pronouns, and it's written by Anna Ripka. Anna is from Romania, and I'm not sure that I can pronounce her hometown, but it's Cluj-Napoca, Romania. She has actually written for Riprap Entertainment before. She has some lovely, lovely children's plays, and I think she's won some awards for the children's plays. And she's been very faithful and loyal to Riprap and interested in what's going on here since our inception in 1999. So with great joy, I gave Donica and Rachel her script, Three Personal Pronouns, to review and critique for possible production here at the theater. Let me just tell you a little bit about Anna. She has worked reviewing poetry, short prose, and theater reviews for numerous newspapers in her native country. She's a published playwright and has had her work perform on Romanian state radio broadcasts, as well as being a recipient, or the recipient, in the radio screenplay writing competition organized by Romanian state radio for a play she wrote called Povest Egyptiana. Povest Egyptiana. I hope I'm doing that name justice. Povest Egyptiana. And she was elected a member of the Writers' Union Drama Section Bucharest branch. Now, you can also hear Anna's radio plays on Shoestring Radio Network in San Francisco. Shoestring is made available to 111 public radio stations in 34 states. That's here throughout this country through the Public Radio Satellite Network. Three Personal Pronouns, written by Anna Ripka. Let's see what Rachel and Donica had to say about this stage play.
Today, our first script that we're going to be discussing is called Three Personal Pronouns by Anna Ripka. I think the first overseas script that we've read.
So.
She's a Romanian writer, so not a native to the United States, which for me, I enjoy a lot of the European flavor in writing. I think a lot of very distinct styles going on over in Europe that we don't see a lot of in American writers. And when I was starting to write the criticism for this play, I couldn't really articulate in sentences right off the bat a criticism or criticisms of certain things. And I wondered why that was, and I just started jotting down words. I was like, well, I'm getting images, I'm getting word images, and the four word images that I got to describe this piece were graphic, grotesque, poetic, and beautiful. And I think the reason why I couldn't articulate cause and effect kind of criticized sentences is because the play in and of itself is a piece of poetry, I feel. And upon reading the first few sentences, was immediately drawn into the poetry of the language and sort of freed my mind up to not really read it as a cause and effect, realistic type of play, but reading it as you would read a piece of poetry. She's got a lot of really dynamic, rich imagery going on. The three pronouns are he, she, and they that she's dealing with in the play. The they being the couple of he and she, and that's where we begin at New Year's Eve at a party with the they, which starts Act 1. And you are introduced to a relationship, but you're not quite sure in the beginning what relationship you're being introduced to or why. It's obviously a troubled romantic relationship. It's not your typical relationship drama because it's episodic for one. There's not a cause and effect relationship happening between the acts or even within the acts. It's very episodic, it's very thematically connected. So you have to be drawn into the poetic nature of the language in order to stay with the play. Also, she's written it originally, I guess, as a radio drama, so there aren't stage directions written in, which again sort of freed me up for my mind to just go with the language and go with the imagery and feel the passion or feel empathy for the characters as they're dealing with their suffering or their apathy to the world around them or to the relationship.
You mentioned the poetic aspect of this piece, something that I found difficult to get into. Right at the top of the play, you've got the he and she talking to each other in this social atmosphere as they're catching up with what they've been doing and stuff. But what bothered me about it is they're not listening to each other. They have their own inner monologues and they're off on these tangents with each other. And I didn't get as drawn into it as I guess I would have liked to have had, because it took too much work for me as a reader to sustain them and follow along their conversational topics, because they're not listening to each other, and I didn't know where my allegiances should lie. So I kind of, found myself falling to the wayside and having to work so hard to stay up with them, and I found that followed through the rest of the other two scenes as well. Each of the three acts that make up this play is structured differently.
Yes.
The second act being her act is all herself.
Very dynamic.
And it got to the point where I was just looking at the pages going, oh, there's so much more text to get through, and that's not a good place to be.
Donica and I had very different, our first, I think, dissimilar.
I guess as we spoke backstage, we learned that she came in today really liking this piece a lot, and I came away almost apathetic about it.
So we didn't agree, but
but we got through it.
Thanks, Rachel. Thanks, Donico. And thank you, Anna, for submitting your work.